Let us learn about synaptic transmission. Synapse. The junction between two neurons is called a synapse. The term synapse was proposed by Sir Charles Sherrington. Synapses are classified into three types on the basis of connection. First type is axosomatic synapse. Second type is axodendritic synapse. Third type is axoaxonic synapse. Axosomatic synapse. It is formed when an axon ends on a soma of another neuron. Axodendritic synapse. It is formed when an axon ends on a dendrite of another neuron. Axoaxonic synapse. It is formed when an axon ends on the axon of another neuron. On the basis of function, the synapses are classified into two types. First type is electrical synapse. Second type is chemical synapse. Here is the image of a chemical synapse and an electrical synapse. Electrical synapse. The two neurons are connected by gap junctions. Gap junction is a gated channel connecting the membranes of two neurons. Impulses are transmitted through the gap junctions. It is found in cardiac muscle fibers, smooth muscle fibers of intestine, and the epithelial cells of the lens in the eye. Here, the impulse flows at a faster rate. In electrical synapse, the impulse can flow in both directions. Here is an image of electrical synapse. Chemical synapse. In chemical synapse, the impulses are transmitted by chemicals. There is a gap called synaptic cleft between the two neurons. The impulses are transmitted by neurotransmitters through the synaptic cleft from one neuron to the other. In a synapse, the terminal branch of the axon of one neuron comes in contact with the dendrite or cyton of another neuron. Parts of synapse. The neuron contributing the axon is called presynaptic neuron. The other neuron is called postsynaptic neuron. Gap present between the presynaptic and postsynaptic neuron is called synaptic cleft. The presynaptic fiber ends in an expanded terminal called synaptic knob. The membrane of synaptic knob is called presynaptic membrane, and that of postsynaptic fiber is called postsynaptic membrane. The synaptic knob contains mitochondria and a large number of vesicles called synaptic vesicles. The synaptic vesicles are filled with chemical substance called neurotransmitters. The neurotransmitters mediate the transmission of impulse from presynaptic neuron to postsynaptic neuron. The membrane of the postsynaptic fiber contains special molecular sites called acetylcholine receptors. Synaptic transmission. The transfer of impulse across a synapse is called synaptic transmission. It involves two processes: neurosecretion by axon, chemoreception by the dendron. Neurosecretion by axon. When the impulse reaches the synaptic knob, the calcium ion channels of the axolemma open. The calcium ions are pumped into the axoplasm from the intercellular fluid. Calcium ions causes the explosion of synaptic vesicles and causes the liberation of acetylcholine. The acetylcholine is passed into the synaptic cleft by exocytosis. This is an image of synaptic transmission. Chemoreception by dendron. The acetylcholine gets attached to the chemoreceptors of the plasma membrane of dendron to form acetylcholine receptor complex. This complex causes depolarization of the membrane and produces an impulse. The impulse runs down the dendron. Immediately after the transmission of impulse, the acetylcholine is destroyed by an enzyme called acetylcholine esterase. Acetylcholine esterase is present in the membrane of dendron. This enzyme splits acetylcholine by hydrolysis into acetic acid and choline. When this occurs, the membrane is repolarized and comes to the resting stage. All these events occur in 0.6 milliseconds. Acetylcholine plus H2O in the presence of acetylcholine esterase enzyme gives acetic acid plus choline. Acetic acid and choline return to the axon by diffusion. In the axon, they are combined into acetylcholine. Acetic acid plus choline gives acetylcholine plus H2O. The dendron cannot produce acetylcholine. That is why the impulse always travels from axon to dendron and not from dendron to axon. Thank you.